Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session of Amrita Cafe on the emerging trends in the study of science. Today, we have with us Ms. Sankita Srinidhi, Principal Base PU College, Mysore, to deliver the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nija. Well, Nija has introduced me as the principal of Base PU College, right? Base is this institution which coaches students to take up the IIT exams. We coach the students to take the NEET exams. We also coach the students to take the CET exams. With this in mind, I have chosen this topic called Emerging Trends in the Study of Science. Let us first understand what is science. For an adolescent or even for a child, science is exploring. Science is about understanding what happens. It is about understanding how something happens. Why is it so hot? Why is it so cool? Why are the flowers blooming? Why is it green? What happens to the stars? What happens to moon? What happens to sun? So many such questions are there. Later, when we graduate to say about 8th or 9th standard, it is about understanding the concepts. Concepts as in the physics or the biology or the chemistry is taught to the students. It is about acquiring knowledge about how it works. Don't you understand what is Ohm's law? Don't you understand what's Bernoulli's principle? There are so many things like that. And later, when probably you come to the end of schooling, as in India, that is 9th and 10th. In 10th standard, there is a juncture where you have to choose either science or commerce or arts. So then it's important to understand what science has to do for you. So then study in science, study of science, according to me, is a huge commitment. It's a big commitment. One has to really like the subject. You don't have to take the subject because your parents want you to do it. Many times it happens like that. Students want to become a lawyer. They want to become an event manager, but they land up taking science. Nothing wrong. But if they don't like to study the subject, it becomes a little problem. The study of science actually calls for writing down, practicing, rehearsing a number of times, and then assimilate all of it in your mind and then propose it. This becomes the science of study. Later, what is emerging trends in the study of science? I have thought that there are some of these kind of careers options which are there for science students if they want to continue with science after 10th standard. Some of them are there for even after the second PUC. So what are all the options? How you have to get to it, and what is the preparation, and what is the prospects for having chosen those options is what I'm going to describe today. So I'll be using a PPT, a presentation in aid to put forth all my thoughts. Okay, so let's first see as to how it goes. Having done your 10th standard, you may actually opt to take humanities, that is arts. If you take arts, nothing wrong. You can very well do your journalism. You can get into the advertising field, politics, which is a very, very important thing to ponder upon. Literature is of course there, psychology, travel and tourism, law, business management, and the most important thing is civil services. These, I think, are the options given to arts humanity. Later, if you think I can actually do commerce, yes, you can. Then probably you choose Sorry. Yeah. Then probably you choose chartered accountancy, finance, business management, actuaries, company secretaryship, and of course, civil services. During my times, I'm about 50 years old. During my times, the parents would think that somebody scores at least a first class in 10th standard. They are worth getting into science. If they have scored at least a second class, then probably they should try commerce. Else, they should stay put at arts. Friends, let me tell you, that is a very, very wrong thought. You can do either arts or commerce or science, whatever marks you got. It just depends upon your aptitude. It just depends upon your passion to study. Now, as I told you, I am the principal of Base PU College and I do not know many things to discuss about arts or commerce because we don't deal with that. So my expertise is in science. So I would straight away go to science. So then if it is science, it is either pure science or it is applied science. What do we mean by this? First, let me go to applied science. Applied science is about doing medicine, doing engineering, doing architecture, again business management, and of course civil service is there. On the contrary, if you think you are doing pure science, what is pure science? Pure science is about being an academician. When you are an academician, you study pure science. You can also do or you can take up research, which is a needed thing in this country. We need a lot of research to happen in this country. We have not heard many people getting, Nobel Prizes of late. We always quote the old people like, Chandrasekhar, B.S. Chandrasekhar, S. Chandrasekhar, who got the Nobel Prize in science, in physics. But where are they in the off-late times? So we need to remember that studying science to do research is a very important thing. So we'll move on with this now. Yes, if we are talking about engineering, then it is BE or it is BTech. What is the difference between BE and BTech? BE is in any college, whereas BTech is the BE that is done in a premier institute, like the Manipal, like the BITS, like the NITs, like the IITs. Okay. Now these two are 4-year courses. Another option is B.Arch. What is this B.Arch? This is about doing BE in architecture. Well, this is a 5-year course and you get a B degree in architecture. Another option could be integrated MTech. Why integrate? That's because you combine BE and ME together and you get a master's degree at the end of 5 years. That is called integrated MTech. Those are the usual, engineering degrees. Likewise, if you come to medicine, then you have your MBBS, which all of us know. Along with that, you have your BDS, that is the dental courses. You also have the Ayush or yoga and naturopathy. Now, BDS or MBBS is got by writing the NEET exam. I'll talk to you about it a little later. The Ayush, yoga and naturopathy, these are got by doing your PCB CET. I hope you all know what is CET, common entrance test, which is taken at the end of second PUC. So if you take PCM, that is physics, chemistry and mathematics, then you qualify to take the engineering. If you take PCB, physics, chemistry and biology, then you get ranks for getting into Ayush, yoga, naturopathy and so on. There are many more which I will list very soon. The third kind of option would be pure science. Now pure science could be BS, Bachelor in Science, BSc in Agriculture, in Veterinary, and so on and so forth. So let us first see where are the prestigious engineering institutions. What we know that CET is available for everyone who does their PUC. That is got by doing the CET. That is the commonest one, and I presume that is the easiest one. A little difficult would be the IIST, Indian Institute of Space, Science and Technology. This is there in Trivandrum, a very prestigious one. Here the course is for 5 years and the aspirant, rather the student who attends this, gets a stipend also. In the sense, they have been given some kind of remuneration for having got into IIST, and they do get 1 or 1.5 years of employment also. After that you can decide what you want to do. But mostly when they go to IIST, they stay back because the environment, the course is so good. The next and the most lucrative thing here is BITS. I'm sure you have all heard of BITS. I would ask you, if you were not on the virtual mode, where is BITS? Yes, BITS, as you all know, is in Pilani. Just not in Pilani, BITS is there in Hyderabad, BITS is there in Goa, BITS is there in Dubai. BITS is a wonderful institute, I must say, because the campus, the infrastructure, the teaching, the placement, the peer pressure, everything there is fantastic. I know of people studying in BITS. I know of students who have come out of BITS. They've all been placed at wonderful places. Obviously because they have studied in BITS. How do you get in there? There is one thing called JE Main, JEE Main, Joint Entrance Exam Main. Some people call it as mains. That's wrong. JEE Main. So if you score well in JEE Main, then you can probably get into BITS. There is also an entrance exam for BITS on its own. You can take that, and if you pass, you definitely get into BITS. But the study of JEE Main becomes important because the kind of questions that are there in BITS is almost the ones which are there in JEE Main. Okay. Next come the IIIT. IIIT, there are 14 institutes all over the country. There is one in Bangalore too. IIIT is another wonderful institute, and these kind of institutes, they cater to niche areas. Wonderful institutes, and it is of the advanced exam standard. Let's take up the NIT and IIT together. What is that I'm saying? NIT, I mean National Institute of Technology. There is one in every state. Every state in this country has one in the state. You must have heard of Suratkal in Karnataka. You must have heard of Warangal. You must have heard of Trichy. In fact, the Trichy NIT is the best. Next comes the Suratkal NIT. So there is one in every state. And one, how do you get into it? Again, it's the same JEE Main preparation. And if ever you get something like 60%, which actually becomes about 90 percentile, then you get into it. I hope you all understand what percentile means. And then in the JEE Main, if you score something like 60% and above, which accounts to about 92 percentile and above, then you qualify to write the IIT exams. It is about qualification to IIT. If ever you are qualified, then you take up the JEE Advanced. And there, if you do well, you are in IIT. But I would tell, if you are preparing for IIT, probably if you miss that, you have your NIT, you have your triple IT, you have your BITS, you have your IIST and NICER and ICER and so many other things. So it's a good practice to prepare for JEE main. How do we do this? So PESIT, which is there in Bangalore, is one of the very popular institutes. So you can get into PESIT University by taking the PESAT, a computer-based selection test. Obviously, you know how you get into the engineering colleges affiliated to Karnataka University. They are by taking the CET. Some also get into the Comet K, which is quite a expensive affair. Okay, so either CET or Comet K can lead you to engineering colleges in Karnataka. I'm sorry. And as I told you, the BITS, Pilani, Goa, Hyderabad, Dubai, all of them are got by writing the BITS Act. If ever you are prepared for JEE main, you are also prepared for BITS Act. That is for sure. And in fact, if you are the topper of your state, then BITSAT is yours. In the sense, if you are the topper of your PUC exams, then you get a call from BITS saying that if you are the topper, you may come and join. There is no exam for you because you are the state topper. And I also told you about the National Institute, triple ITs and prestigious institutes and how to get into IIT. I've already discussed it. Let's now move on to the prestigious medical colleges. We of course have the government colleges in Karnataka, Bangalore Medical College, Mysore Medical College, KIMS, Hubli, so many others like that. There are good number of private colleges also. In the whole, there are about 3,950 seats for the government. In the sense, if you get into through the government seats, if you are in the 9350 rank, then you are there. Yes, there are private seats in Karnataka. It comes to about 1845. So how do we do this? It is about preparation of NEET. What is this NEET? NEET is about a 3-hour exam where there are about 180 questions. I said there are about 180 questions, 45 questions of physics, 45 of chemistry, 45 of botany, 45 of zoology, plus 180 minutes, that is 3 hours. So basically you need to answer one question per minute. And if you get above 550 out of 720, okay, I should tell you how 720 comes. So 180 questions, if you get a correct answer, you get 4 marks. So 180 into 4 is 720. But there is negative marking also. With the negative marking there, if you are able to get about 550 as the marks, then you are in the government seat quota. If you get something like 500 to 550, probably you will end up in some of the private seats. How do we get into AIIMS? Where is AIIMS? It's in Delhi, okay? But there are 8 more. There are 7 more coming up. The sanction for AIIMS is about 15 in the country. So far, about 9 of them have come out. Another 6 to come. AFMC Pune, I'm sure you all know it. AFC Pune is one of the wonderful, very, very well organized universities. To all of these, AIIMS, AFMC, Shipmer, St. Joseph's, CMC Vellore, for all of them, the answer is preparation to NEET. Unfortunately, there is only one NEET exam in the country in a year, and it's a pen and paper exam. What do I mean by that? The JEE main that I talked about is a CBT. When I say CBT, I mean computer-based test. Whereas The NEET exam is about ticking options. It's about writing in a pen on a paper. So that's called pen and paper. St. Joseph again, St. John's, I'm sorry, St. John's is another wonderful institute. It's in Bangalore. There are about 30 seats. Actually, 8 to 9 seats are only available for the general public. Rest are all given to the Catholics. Again, the CMC Vellore is another prestigious institute. They treat cancer patients very well. So all of these, St. John's, CMC Vellore, AFMC, JIPMER, AIMS, and all of the Karnataka seats is all got by the NEET exam only. And that happens only once. I was talking to you about pure sciences. So pure science is about becoming an academician or you become a researcher. What do you mean by this? You can get into ISI. ISI is in Bangalore. It's also there in Kolkata. ISI, another wonderful institute for the ones who love math. So there is an entrance test for that, and if you qualify, you can get it. You got to get good marks in physics, chemistry, and mathematics in the second PUC, and you can try. Similarly, the CMI, Chennai Mathematical Institute. This is a wonderful institution. I know of students who are studying there. These are the students who love math. They just eat food, they talk, they do all math. They are just living for math. Those kind of students get into CMI. This is a 5-year-old course, and when you come out of that, you are a mathematics wizard. Similarly, the CBS. CBS is the Basic Sciences Institute in Mumbai. They basically cater to the physics and biology aspects. Usually, the ones who studied in CBS, they get employed in BARC. I hope you know what BARC means. Again, NICER and ICER, wonderful institutes, as I told you. Now, these institutes, the way you get in through is by entrance tests. There are tests for ISR. NICER is got by attending a test called NEST. NEST is a test. So both CMI and NICER, you get it by NEST, and ICER have their own tests. And IISc, we know it's a world-class institute in Bangalore. How to get into it? Okay. There is one thing called KVPY. I hope you have heard of it. It says Kishore Vignana Puraskara Yojana. Kishore Vignana Puraskara Yojana. This is a central government scholarship. I mean to say, the center bestows upon scholarships to worthy students. And when you get those scholarships, then you straight get into ISC. It's the best way to get in. Alternatively, there is if you get good marks in JEE Main or Advanced, then too you are there. If you get wonderful marks in NEET, then too you are there. You should have the fascination to do pure science, then you are there. To get into IISc is a wonderful opportunity because I know students who have come out of IISc and they tempt me by saying, we shook hand with Nobel laureates. How nice is it to be, in correspondence with Nobel laureates? It's such a wonderful thing, isn't it? So then, how to get into IIT? By BITS Advanced. How to get into BITS? Entrance exam or state topper. How to get into ICER, IIT or KVPY that I told you just now. And I told you it has its own exam. That is IAT, ICER Aptitude Test. IISc is by JEE Main or by NEET or by KVPY. NICER and CBS, I already told you, that's about a selection test called NEST. CMI is got by their own tests. There's also another way of getting to CMI. If ever you have taken the Olympiad tests, now Olympiad tests in mathematics happens at 4 rounds. First one is a local one. Once you are selected there, then you get into the state. If you are selected in the state, then you get into CMI. Again, talking about Olympiad, if you have got selected in the state, then you appear for the national. If you are selected there too, then you go to the international. And if you are selected in the international, then you go straight to NASA. I am not kidding, it's a fact. Again, ISI, as I told you, there's an entrance test. And IIST is straight because of the JEE Main Advanced. So these are the institutes. Now there are other institutes, other professions also. The pharmacy is another thing, quite a lucrative one. What are pharmacists? Now these are also healthcare professionals. They don't treat these patients because they aren't doctors, but they are an integral part of the medicine community, the medical community. So they basically take the professional responsibility, which includes giving medicines, all that. Now pharmacies can be basically divided into 3 groups. One is called community pharmacy, one more is called hospital pharmacy, yet another is called clinical pharmacy. What is the difference? Community pharmacy is about the retail shop where we get medicines. These are the medical stores that we go to. Hospital pharmacy is about taking medicine in the hospital itself. It happens, right? When you go to good big hospitals, there is the medicine available there itself. Clinical pharmacy is about the palliative care or the, you have 2 kinds of things. One is a hospital, one more is a clinic. Now, hospital is a big enterprise, whereas a clinic or a, that is called clinic. And if you have pharmacy there, then that is called clinical pharmacy. So how do you get to it? It's like this. You can do a diploma in pharmacy that gets you a D Pharma. Again, that you get by taking your CET PCB. What I told you then, that holds good here too. Similarly, B Pharma, that is again got by taking good ranks in CET PCB. Next, you graduate to Master of Pharmacy, and then you become a Doctor of Pharmacy. D Pharma, B Pharma, Pharma D, and M Pharma. I have also listed the kind of colleges and the kind of seats that are available. Yeah, we now move to a very, very nice, rather a very interesting profession. That is about veterinary. Now, what are veterinarians? Now, these are people who basically take care, they are the doctors for animals. I just want to tell you that it's just not about curing the animals, it's also about taking care of their health. And it is about, the spread of, we have heard all those things in the recent past. Because, bats get bats get, they get into infection and that can transform to human beings. Pigs get infection and that can come to human beings. These kind of things are there. Then it is important to treat them there. It's about, curing the problem right at the source. So they basically have the responsibility of carrying out research about spreading of diseases from animals. They also have this responsibility of human health and animals' health being good. And then They also provide education and suggestion to pet owners about general care and how to take care of them. Now there are so many things actually. You need to take care of the health of a cattle. Else, you are, they're supposed to be very good yielding cow. If it is infected already, we don't get good milk, right? We need to take care of the wild animals. We need to take care of their population. All of these are important. So that is about veterinary. So how to get into veterinary science? Now it is the similar thing that you do have to do to get into medicine also. So basically you have to get into veterinary science by completing a 5-year degree that is called BVSc, and Masters is again MVSc. It's just like doing MBBS and MD. Similar thing is for that. And how you get into veterinary science is again by through NEET. NEET of which I already told you. Now this is a very important thing. Yeah. Agriculture. India, India is well known for agriculture. Now, how do you choose a profession like agriculture? Is it that you have to become farmers? Not necessarily. You don't have to become farmers all the time. It is about the agriculture as an academic discipline. You need to understand the subjects related to agriculture, to horticulture, to farm management, to poultry farming, to dairy farming, agricultural biotechnology, and so many things are there. The careers that are pursued with agriculture are agricultural engineering, floriculturer, horticulturist, food scientist, wildlife biologist, and all of these are the different kinds of uh, branches that you can if you are in the agriculture. First of all, how do you get into? It is by taking 12th standard with a good marks of 45-50%, and you have to get in through the CET, PCB CET. So what is this agricultural engineering? Now agricultural engineering, it's also known as biosystems engineering. Now this is a field which deals with study of engineering, science and disciplines. It's principled for agricultural purposes. This combines various disciplines of mechanical, civil, electrical, food science, environmental, software, chemical engineering. All of these come under agricultural engineering. It's about finding out different ways of sowing. It's about finding out different way of removing this, yield. That's the thing. Next one could be the floriculture, which is also called as a nursery. So what is this? It is about flower farming. It means the study of growing and marketing flowers and foliage plants. The floriculture includes cultivation of flowering and ornamental plants for direct sale, and its raw material for cosmetic and perfume industry. Well, where do we get all of our perfumes? It's all from flowers, right? Similarly, the cosmetics, it's used so much in the cosmetic in the field also. So growing good flowers becomes essential, and ornamental is, of course, we all know we need to keep the the flowers nicely because they are used for bouquets and all that. Then what is horticulture then? Horticulture is another simple thing. It is about cultivating plants in garden to produce food and mechanical ingredients. That means horticulturals are agriculturists only, but they grow flowers, fruits and nuts vegetables and herbs, as well as ornamental trees and lawn. Yeah, lawn. So important. So it's about all that. What's food scientist then? Food scientist is about, it's a multidisciplinary field which involves chemistry, biochemistry, nutrition, microbiology, and engineering to give kind of a scientific knowledge to solve real problems associated with many facets of food systems. Food science integrates this broad-based knowledge and focuses on food. We need to take good food, isn't it? When I say good food, it's not about, you know, uh, tasty food. I mean to say we need to take good food in the sense it has to be nutritionally good. So then we need to understand what food scientists are. Wildlife biologists, this is a wonderful and it's a lucrative one. One gets into this probably by doing your IFS also. When you do civil service, it's either IAS or it is about IPS or IFS, or they can also get into IFS, Indian Forestry Service. That's also one way to get into wildlife biology. What you basically do is take care of the fauna, flora of the forests. That is also extremely important. This is another very interesting one. This is aerospace engineering. What is this about? This is about either studying aeronautical engineering or it is about astronautical engineering. Sometimes it is confused with avionic engineering. Now, avionic engineering is also astronautical or aeronautical engineering, but it is about studying of electronics only. Electronics is a wonderful subject which I studied anyway. So that is about avionics, but there are other aspects also to aeronautical or astronautical. Like we need to understand how to design an aircraft. We need to understand how to design how to assemble, how to maintain, all these kinds of things with aircraft. Similarly, it's about designing the spacecraft, it's about designing the missiles, the weapon systems, and maintaining and ensure it works properly. Some specialization in this would be air guided systems, guidance control systems. All of these are there in aerospace engineering. It is a very highly paid job, and what you get, how you get to go to aerospace engineering is by doing a BTech. Probably a BTech followed by MTech is what aerospace engineers do. How to get into BTech? We've already discussed. You got to get good marks in PCB. You got to write your JEE main, and you get into one of those primary institutes and finish your BTech, and then get into MTech, and then you're ready to get into aerospace engineering. Some of the very top colleges are IIT Bombay, SRM. This is a wonderful college in Chennai. It's also there in other parts of Tamil Nadu also. IIST, which I told you, Tiruvananthapuram, that offers even aerospace engineering. MIT, Manipal Institute of Technology, our own RVC also offers aerospace engineering. So, what is it about aeronautical engineering? Aeronautical engineers can also work as racing car designers, flight mechanical engineering, graduate engineering trainee, assistant aircraft engineers, aircraft production engineers, assistant technical officers, and air safety officers, and as a space scientist in the government organizations like in the ISRO. The aerospace engineers on the whole are responsible for designing the aircraft, spacecraft, missiles, weapon systems, They are also responsible for developing new technologies for use of aviation, spacecraft and defense systems. They are also there to assemble and to test aerospace products. Yet another beautiful one, that is about marine engineering. Now, what is this marine engineering? Yeah, it is about the branch which deals with mechanical equipments of seagoing crafts, docks, and harbor institutions. Basic job for marine engineer is to design, build, and maintain vehicles, structures used to on the water or around water. This also includes the ships, aircraft carriers, submarines, sailboats, tankers, etc. This is not about navy. It is an assist to navy. Now, basically we are calling ourselves as marine engineers. So it's not navy. It is about marine engineering. So the institutes that are very much there are the Tolani Marine Institute in Pune, Chitkara University in Chandigarh, NIT, Mangalore, that is the one in Suratkal, Indian Maritime University, which is in Kolkata, and of course, Andhra University in Vishakhapatnam. Please observe that all of these are coasts except Chitkara University, which is in Chandigarh. I think I would end with this last slide, which is about civil service. Because, again, dating back to my times, my father wanted me to become an IAS officer because my English was good. I used to study a lot. I used to be up on the newspapers all the time. I used to have good general knowledge. So he said, "You are the right person to become a IAS officer." So I had this dream of becoming an IAS officer sometime. But then I realized to study IAS, you have to study political science and sociology and history. In fact, I passed my 10th standard with a heavy heart. I said, my God, I'm done with history. It's about myself. There are people who love history. There are people who love to get into sociology and political science. But I didn't have that kind of fascination at all towards social studies. So I thought, if I study, I have to study science only. So then I said, I can't do my IAS. So that's when I dropped it. But today, the civil services have opened up. Anyone can become my civil servant. It is about writing the IAS exam. You can be an engineer turned IAS. You can be MBBS turned IAS. You can be a BCom turned IAS. You can be a BA turned IAS. Anything is possible. And each of them have their own niche areas where they can be placed. So how to get into it? Now there are two stages. Stage 1 will be the preliminary examination conducted by the UPSC. UPSC is that government body which conducts the civil service exams. The second stage would be the ones who are qualified. It is about elimination test. Once you are qualified, then the second round will be for the qualified people, one other examination followed by a personality test. In fact, it is going on now for the year 2021. Those kind of tests are going on now. And how to really prepare for the IAS exams? Yes, the age bar for general merit is till 28 years. That means general merit they have 6 attempts to take because by 22 they would have finished their degree. That's why it's 6 times. For OBC it is about 9 times, and for SC/ST you have unlimited attempts to take the civil service. So with this I would want to end this talk. All that I have to say is you are confined only by the walls of your built self. You are confined by the walls you build yourself. Andrew Murphy. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for a very informative session to all the students, especially students who are studying in 10th and 12th. While taking a career decision at this point of time, a session like this will be really useful for them actually.
Thank
So,
you.
as you have ended with civil service, I would like to start a question with it, like
Sure.
how to get into civil service or what all preparations that students need to have, like when they are studying in their 12th grade. Some students from their childhoods, they will be having this as a passion that they need to be an IAS officer or an IPS officer. They
Yes,
have
ma'am.
this in their mind. So, what all preparations they can have during their school times itself, whether they have to go for some coaching or whether it can be reading the basic thing that is reading a newspaper. What do you
Yes.
think they can
I
prepare
think
or
it's
they can
about
start from?
being abreast with the current affairs, ma'am. You have to
Mhm.
be going through the newspaper every day. Your English should be good. You should be well outspoken. Your communication skills have to be good. Your general knowledge should be good. And then you have your subject knowledge, range of subjects that is there after your degree.
Mhm.
So the preparation is about being speaking well and going through the newspaper. That's all I think, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Also, like you have mentioned about various premier institutions
Correct.
for getting into for engineering or in medicine. So, what are the advantages that a student gets by getting into these premier institutions? Because
Wonderful.
nowadays, engineering and medicine, like they have a lot of colleges out there. So,
Correct.
to how one can choose from whether this is the best college for me, how they can find that out.
Nice question. See, once you get into a premier institute, the advantages are multitude. Multitudes of advantages are there. First and foremost is the peer group. You get into students, I mean, you make friends with students who are like you, or rather, they are the studying kind of students. And then the infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, I don't mean the good building and the nice facade and all that. I mean to say a beautiful library, a well funded library, and a wonderful laboratory. That's the infrastructure according to me. That is there for you. Lastly, it is about the they get into this what is called as in medics in engineering, even in medicines, I think they do this kind of projects, internship. So internship can be abroad, it can be in wonderful institutes if you're studying in a premier institute. So then what happens is you get to know the culture outside and probably you get employed there itself. This has happened to good number of my students. They've gone out for doing the internship somewhere and then they got employed there itself. So it's about spreading your wings. It's about getting to know what the world is. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So most of the parents have this thought like in medicine itself, it's always good to go forward with allopathy or Ayurveda or homeopathy. Many parents have this hesitation to let students into the veterinary science or into pharmacy. So, what are
Correct.
your thoughts on it?
Ma'am, pharmacy is a byproduct of MBBS. You're either doing a MBBS or you have to be a pharmacist if you
Yeah.
like life sciences. So either you have to prescribe the medicines or you have to give the medicines. So it's almost like a half doctor as far as the pharmacy is concerned. With veterinary science, I think it's for people who love animals. Ones who like, spending time with animals, who like to care for animals. This is the best way to do. And it's a 5-year degree, just like MBBS. And there is a kind of shortage of veterinarians. So it is a lucrative one too.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
ma'am.
So that's all I have for you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
The questions And that's all I have. So yeah, thank you so much once again for a very informative session. And everyone who
And my
have
mail
joined.
ID is there. Anybody wants to ask, you can ask doubts, ma'am. My phone
Yeah,
number is also there. My mail ID is also there.
yeah,
I make any kind of
yes,
questions.
yes, it's visible, ma'am. So if
Yes.
students, if you're having any queries, you can please mail her at sankita.s@basidu.in, or you can even contact.
SBU.
Us today. We'll see you all for another episode of Amrita Cafe. Till then, have a good day.